What are you even doing here? You were uninvited yesterday. The words sliced through the wedding reception like broken glass, every head turning to witness my public humiliation. I smiled sweetly at my son's bride, the woman I'd spent $43,000 making happy. I'm leaving, but first meet my special guest, an old friend of yours. When Jessica saw who stood behind me, her face went white as her overpriced dress before she crumpled to the Italian marble floor. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. You're probably wondering how a 67-year-old grandmother ended up orchestrating the most spectacular wedding crash in Charleston's history. Well, let me tell you. It started 6 months ago when my son Andrew brought home the most beautiful liar I'd ever met. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Margaret Thompson, though everyone calls me Maggie. And until last week, I thought I was planning the wedding of the century for my beloved only child. I'd emptied my late husband's life insurance policy, cashed in bonds, and even borrowed against my house to give Andrew and Jessica the fairy tale wedding she claimed to have dreamed about since childhood. The venue, the prestigious Bellamy estate with its sprawling gardens and antebellum charm. The dress, a $12,000 Vera Wang that required 3 alterations. The flowers, 2,000 white roses flown in from Ecuador. I paid for every last petal because Jessica's family, she tearfully explained, had downed her for marrying beneath their social status. My heart bled for this poor girl who'd supposedly given up everything for love. I even offered her my grandmother's pearl necklace, a family heirloom passed down through 4 generations. "Oh, Mrs. Thompson," she'd whispered, eyes glistening with what I thought were tears of gratitude. "You're like the mother I never had." What a performance that was. Andrew was completely besotted, and I understood why. Jessica was stunning in that effortless way. Some women are born with all golden hair and doe eyes that could make grown men forget their own names. She worked as a pediatric nurse, volunteered at animal shelters, and spoke about wanting children with such genuine longing that I found myself daydreaming about grandchildren. But something nagged at me, a whisper of doubt I couldn't quite silence. Maybe it was the way her stories never quite aligned, or how she'd grown up in so many different places that she couldn't keep her childhood memories straight. Or perhaps it was how she always paid cash for everything, claiming she was old-fashioned about credit cards. Still, Andrew was happier than I'd seen him since his father died 3 years ago. And that was enough for me, until the night I discovered the truth that would change everything. The revelation came accidentally, as the most devastating truths often do. I was dropping off wedding favors at Andrew's apartment when I heard Jessica on the phone in the bedroom, her voice low and urgent. Something in her tone made me freeze in the hallway, instead of announcing my arrival like a normal person would. "Marcus, I told you not to call me on this number," she hissed. "No, the wedding is still on schedule." "Yes, I'll have access to his accounts after we're married." "What do you mean you want a bigger cut?" "We agreed on 30%. My blood turned to ice. I pressed myself against the wall, grateful for Andrew's ancient hardwood floors that allowed me to hear every damning word. "Look, the old lady has already given us over 40 grand, and she'll probably gift us more money for the house down payment after the wedding. This Mark is worth at least 200,000, maybe more." "No, he doesn't suspect anything. He's completely hooked." "Mark, my son was a mark. I'd heard enough." I crept backward toward the front door, my hands shaking so violently, I nearly dropped the box of wedding favors. I managed to leave quietly, but once in my car, I had to pull over 3 blocks away because I was hyperventilating. Everything made horrible sense now. The cash payments, the inconsistent stories, the way she'd isolated Andrew from his friends with subtle comments about how they didn't understand their relationship. She'd even convinced him to add her name to his checking account for convenience and suggested he upgrade his life insurance policy since they were building a future together. I sat in my car for an hour, crying angry tears and feeling like the world's biggest fool. Then something shifted inside me. Something hard and determined that I hadn't felt since fighting for my husband's life during his cancer battle. If Jessica Miller thought she could destroy my son and steal our money, she'd picked the wrong family to mess with. But I needed proof. Real, undeniable evidence that would open Andrew's eyes and expose Jessica for what she really was. I drove straight home and did something I never thought I'd do in my lifetime. I Googled private investigators, Charleston, South Carolina. The next morning, I met